Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today I want to show you a game from round one of the Gibraltar Chess Festival. This game is between uh, Hungarian female women's GM Anita Gara, who um, who has a sister Ticia Gara, who's also a women's GM. But this player Anita Gara is also a male international master. So very strong. So today she had the white pieces versus Levon Aronian. So let's see how she fared. Game started out e4. Aronian opted for the modern defense. Bishop g7, knight f3, d6, bishop e2, knight f6, knight c3, castles, castles. I like this approach right here. This is extremely classical, Fred Reinfeld, Siegbert Tarrasch type setup. This is the setup whereby you can't go wrong. It doesn't matter. Her rating was about 350 points below Levon Aronian, and she opted for this extremely simple setup, not claiming uh, any type of big advantage for white, but nevertheless an advantage in space right out of the opening, and advantage, namely in the center, with those two connected pawns. A6 from Aronian, bishop g5, h6, bishop f4 after provoking a little bit of weakness. Now you have the attack coming against the d pawn. h3, this allows the bishop to tuck itself away, also keeps the bishop off of g4. e6, queen c1, probing the position. King h7, and now the move e5. And with the queen here on c1, room is made for the rook to come to d1 after an exchange here on e5. D takes e5, d takes e5, and the knight is forced to either come to d5 or the move made in the game, or the d7. And there it is, rook d1. So we can say that white has done okay out of the opening. White has increased her space advantage, and now she just has to deal with this pressure that is built up on the e pawn. And these are old questions in these type of defenses, whether it be the Alekhines defense, modern Owens defense, what have you, any Pirk's defense, any type of defense where you give up the center early to counterattack it later. The question is always whether do you have enough to tear down your opponent's center and prove that it's weak. If you can tear it down, usually wind up with a good game or a good end game, and if you can't, usually you wind up suffering for a long time. Queen e7. Of course, this knight can't be used in the attack because the queen is pinned. And now queen e3. This connects the rooks and helps protect queen c5. So now Aronian has four pieces mounted against this pawn. So it looks like it's going to fall at this point. Queen c4. Queen b4. Nice move by Aronian. Endgame. Knight takes b4. And now black is trying to develop a slight initiative here with this threat. Rook d2. Knight comes back and resumes the attack against the e-pawn. Rook e1. And now Aronian takes. Knight takes. Knight takes. And now Gara unleashes a discovered attack against the knight here. Aronian's knight must move. And Gara gets her pawn back. However, black does not mind trading the e pawn for the c pawn, so this is just fine here for black. Black's bishop is now fully released, and now black's main problem now is just getting his pieces in the game, just completing development. For instance, it's hard to play bishop d7. You can't really coordinate the pieces, so that's black's main problem now is coordinating. White also has this 3-2 majority on the queen side. Okay, so b5. This pawn is very tender here. So I did b4, of course, kicking the knight out. Other idea also develop the bishop. And also the third idea is to cripple the queenside majority of white. Alright, by executing a minority attack. Knight e4. And this is just hitting the weak dark squares that white has in the position. A good move here because this pawn really, say bishop takes b2 or whatever, white could get a nice initiative here. Bishop d6, for example, rook d8, and then a move like c3 with the harassment against the bishop. And f5 is pretty much forced. And then rook takes b2, f takes e4 here, and then bishop c7. Let's say rook d7 and then bishop g3, and then white has some fresh new targets to fight against. So white is better there, definitely. So Aronian does knight d6 first, a5. Great move c4, pushing the majority. This is old Capablanca's rule. Is when you're pushing a majority, is push the candidate that has no opposition first, and that's exactly what Gara does. e4, c takes, a takes b5. Now I'm going for this counterplay here. Bishop takes b5, and now Anand. I keep saying Anand. I'm sorry about that. Aronian. So bishop takes b5, and now knight to e5. So here we can see that Aronian is in some trouble here with these with this unchallenged pawn duel over here on the queen side. Now, if it was a stronger player on the white side, maybe like a Mamedyarov or Carlsen, Kramnik, or somebody like that, we probably will venture to say that black is close to being lost. So this is not a position to repeat here. I think too what's going on is these players are getting close to the candidates matches, and they're playing different stuff, like kind of hiding their preparation too. But I think Aronian might have just figured, he could play anything, so he just whipped out this modern against international master Gara. So knight takes c8. Going for the simplification. Perhaps stepping on the gas a little bit, because this knight is beautifully placed. There's really no reason to. I mean, actually, you could say, to get the bishop here. But you could even put more pressure by playing the move like f3. And the idea being, if e takes f3, now you play knight c8. And you got this double attack here. And there's really nothing. It's really difficult for black to deal with that move f3. Rook ac1, for example. Then just simply rook c1, just dominating the important squares in position. Bishop e6. And then you just take right here. F takes e4. F takes e4, and then you play a4, preserving the passed pawn. And again, now you have this weakness right here, and very difficult role for Aronian. So knight takes c8, going for the simplification, and I think what happened is that I think she felt that she had an advantage and tried to simplify things down, but simplified a little bit too much because you had these two rooks and then you had the opposite color bishops. But perhaps she felt good still about these two pawns, which, I mean, you can't really blame her. I mean, they're two unopposed passed pawns. So she was trying to eliminate as much counterplay as possible. She gets her king safe. Has a pawn on the same color as her bishops. And the oh man, Aronian is able to generate just enough counterplay in the position to keep Gara occupied here. Rook e7, rook e2, and so now she's occupied with holding back these pawns. Notice the bishop being in a perfect position to stop this pawn duel. G5, trading off a pair of rooks, and at this point the game was drawn. Now I don't know who offered the draw. Probably Aronian, being a high rated player, in a lot of trouble here, and he was up on time, but this is definitely a position that you have to play if you're white. Even though there's opposite color bishops, you still, I think, gotta try to play on a little bit. Maybe bishop e7 here, but she probably was nervous and probably didn't want to blow a win against, turn this into a loss perhaps against a like super strong player, and now she can go and say, yeah, I drew this player. But she's very strong because in round 2 she drew another a strong grandmaster. So yeah, that was it. The game kind of ended, on a question mark, because this is definitely a playable position. Um, Even though, again, there's the opposite color bishops. Uh, you gotta try here. But again, I kind of understand. But I'm just saying that was me, and I was playing Aronian. I wouldn't accept the draw in this position because, to me, I think white pretty much has the draw guaranteed. I mean, you really had to play badly, and so there's only two results here for white: draw or win. So why not just play on? So anyway, that's it. I just wanted to show you that semi upset because again, Aronian's a couple of hundred points higher. I think about 350 points higher in rating than Gara, and also gives you some information on a relatively unknown female international master. So that is it for now, and I'll see you on the next video.